Today's story starts here in a small town in Greater Manchester, in the region of Tameside, called Ashton-under-Lyne in the 1960s. John Potter and his wife Margaret had 2 twin boys, and this family grew up in a tough part of Ashton. They didn't have a lot, they didn't have much money, but the family had a lot of love, and John had always dreamed of owning his own business. And when the boys were 5, he'd managed to start one up, his own little laundrette on Old Street in the town centre. Now John Potter didn't have big dreams, he just wanted to run his own business and earn enough money so that him and his family could be happy. But one other thing that made John happy was going to the football with his 2 boys. He instilled a lot of love for Manchester City into his 2 young boys, but it wasn't hard to be a Manchester City fan in the 1970s because the club was fairly successful. They had superstar players like Mickey Summerby, and they won quite a few trophies. So John would work hard all week in the laundrette, and on a Saturday spend the day out with his 2 boys at the football. Now the 2 boys themselves had big dreams. Both of them were very competitive, but they had a lot of love for each other. But unfortunately for these 2 lads, as they were about to leave to go to university, the father died, which meant young Jerry and Alan Potter inherited their dad's laundrette. Now with their mother sick and depressed with a broken heart, the 2 boys realised they couldn't go to university. They were going to have to take over the laundrette and be there for each other, but mainly for the mother. But they didn't want to run one simple laundrette. They wanted to build it into a company that would take over all the laundrettes in the country. And that's exactly what they did. By the time they got to the mid-80s, Jerry and Alan Potter had turned their single laundrette on Old Street in Ashton into a global laundrette business, the biggest in the UK. Every major company, every major factory sent their clothing to one of the Potter's laundrettes to be cleaned or dry cleaned. They really had made their father's little business into a super successful one. Now, only in their mid-20s, these 2 lads had turned the Potter's cleaning company into the biggest in the world. But these 2 brothers, although they were twins and very similar in many ways, they're also very different. Jerry didn't want to settle down. He was a party boy. He liked fast cars and he loved loose women. His brother, on the other hand, was very serious. Alan met his wife early and they had many children. He was a family man. He got to work, he wouldn't drink, he'd just come home and eat a lot and spend his time with his family. And as the years rolled on and the brothers got older, the company got bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the year 2019, it was worth a cool £1 billion. Now both brothers had a very good lifestyle. Alan lived up in the hills of Staley Bridge. His brother, on the other hand, he'd chilled out a little bit in his old age, but he never married. He had no kids. He too had a lovely house up in the hills of Mosley, but he had different ideas about his retirement. Alan wanted to stay in the business till the very end. He wanted to keep it growing. He wanted to get up and go to work every single day. Jerry, on the other hand, had had enough, and he'd met a man on a business trip in Miami that was going to offer him a deal he couldn't say no to. Now this man was backed by huge Chinese investors who wanted to come in and take over this laundry business, and they were willing to pay a cool £1 billion to take the company over. Now the brothers argued over this deal for weeks. Jerry wanted to sell and retire and have some fun. Alan didn't want to retire. He wanted to carry on the Potter cleaning company. But it was a 50-50 thing. Both brothers owned the exact same amount of the company. They had to agree. Jerry forced Alan's hand, and Alan reluctantly sold up. So with £500 million in each other's pockets, what were the brothers going to do? Well, Jerry wanted to do something fun. Now he was a diehard Manchester City fan, but he also didn't want to waste his money on a Premier League team. He just wanted to own a football club and see what he could do. Could he take one of his local teams to the top? Now, seeing as he lived up in the hills near Mosley, he wasn't far away from Ashlyn United, a small club in the Vanarama North who he'd always had his eye on. Ashlyn United formed in 1878, but they never had much of a history, never had much growth, so he bought them for a small fee, and he said his vision would be that one day, hopefully in his lifetime, with some investment, he could take this club to the very top. Now his brother Alan hadn't spoken to Jerry since his hand was forced and they had to sell the family business. In fact, he hated his brother. He had a vendetta and he wanted to compete against him. Brotherly love was dead. The bro code was over. But he wasn't going to let his brother have the last laugh. Oh no. He held a press conference and revealed his plan to go head to head with his brother. Across the town, there was a club called Kurzon Ashton. Now this club, although it was a little younger than Ashlyn United, had way more success over the years. They'd moved out of their old stadium in the early noughties into a new facility called the Tameside Stadium. A stadium that proudly had outside the 3 World Cup winners of Tameside statue, and he wanted to turn this team into a powerhouse. Now, unlike his brother, he was going to take this super seriously, and in that press conference he laid down a challenge to his brother Jerry. Now, he always thought his brother Jerry had the upper hand on him. He always thought he was cooler, had better looking women, lived a better lifestyle, but he wasn't going to let him win this time. So he laid down that challenge. Who could be the first to take their little team to the very top? So the challenge was set. The one about getting to the Premier League. It was about who could win their first major trophy. Jerry couldn't help but laugh, but he accepted that challenge with open arms. He missed his brother, but he wasn't going to let his brother get one over on him. He was going to go head to head with him. It was going to be a battle to the death. So who's going to win out of these two brothers? Taking over small teams in Ashton-under-Lyne, investing decent amounts of money. It was going to take some time, but we would have an eventual winner. Would it be happy-go-lucky Jerry, or would it be his angry brother Alan? Well, we're going to find out in today's video. Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for joining me. Make sure you smash the like button. It really does help me, helps the video, helps the channel. If you really want to help me out, you can always pledge to my Patreon. You'll find a link to that down below. If you're brand new, thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully by the end of it, I might convince you to subscribe. Thank you very much. Go and check out my other videos. But yeah, you've seen the story. This is just a story video, a bit of fun. And it came about really from, well, my wife's pregnant. She's 16 weeks pregnant. Obviously with coronavirus, when we had our 13-week scan, I wasn't allowed in the hospital, which is devastating. So I had like 3 hours to kill. And I didn't want to go home in case she got out early. So I stayed in the area. I couldn't park up in the hospital, so I had to like mooch about in the car just around the hospital basically, which is in Ashton-under-Lyne in Tameside, and right near there is Hurst Cross where Ashlyn United are. So I kept driving around the block and going past the stadium, and I just thought, let's have a look. So there's no one about, so I'm like looking in through the gates, and it made me think about Ashton's football teams, because they've also got Kurzon Ashton, who are higher in the league. They're in the Nationals, and I thought I need to do something with these. Hopefully you're going to enjoy it. I've enjoyed making it and putting it together. Let's get into it. Right, then we're going to start here with Ashlyn United. Now, Ashlyn United are in fact not in the Vanarama National League North at the start of the game. They are in the Bet Victor Premier League. They're a league below. They have been in the National League years ago. Now, they're a good club. They're the oldest team in Ashton, a lot older than Curzon, but I'll talk about Curzon in a minute. They were founded in 1878, the same year as Newton Heath, who became Manchester United. Fantastic little club. Now, they are owned by Jerry Potter. Now, Jerry Potter's the easy guy, the happy-go-lucky guy, bit of a playboy in the 80s. He's the guy who obviously sold his half of the laundry business and forced his brother's hand into selling his. These guys have got wealth, but they're not super rich, and they're not going to have not made it where these little clubs have got, because sometimes that's what people do with these experiments. They'll give these little clubs like a commercial income that equals Manchester City's. So every year these clubs get 200 million, which is unrealistic, innit? And they'll fly up the leagues. Now these clubs are going to get good sponsorships, maybe 50 million, which is crazy, I know. But it's going to be a slow process. Now, where we haven't done anything to the team is in the playing staff. I've left that normal. We're going to see where they go with that. I have given both teams new stadiums. Not new stadiums, but I've improved the capacity. So they've got 10,000 capacity, 5,000 seats. They've got state-of-the-art training. Now, in the game, it says they haven't won anything. They have won trophies, a bit lower level trophies over the years. But again, I need to look into it a bit more. But I don't understand how a club like Ashlyn United have never grown, or they've let a team like Curzon. Because Curzon's got a very different story. And you'll see Curzon there. They are Ashlyn United's historic rival, because they're in the same town. It's not the biggest town in the world. It's Ashton-under-Lyne. But they've got other rivals. Stalybridge Celtic, very local. Mosley's very local. Droylsden, similar team. Now, Kurzon Ashton are in the Vanarama League North. They are a Vanarama team. I've seen them play against Stockport County at Edgeley Park, and I've been to their stadium many times. It's quite new. It was built 2004. Now, they used to play at an older stadium, and I might have showed you that picture in the story, and I went there a lot because my dad was a high school teacher and he had high school football teams that did pretty well, and he'd play at cup finals and always play at Curzon Ashton's old stadium, the National, I think it was the National Park. Now that's been knocked down, it's a housing estate, but obviously they got the new Tameside Stadium, which for a club like Curzon is amazing. One of my best friends got married there a few years ago. It's all new, plus it's got the famous triple World Cup winning statue outside, because Tameside as a whole, with Ashton and my hometown Denton, we've produced 3 World Cup winners, which is insane. I've made it equal for them. They're going on equal footing. These two brothers want to compete, so they've got the same stadium, same growth capacity within that stadium, so they might leave these stadiums one day, and they've got the same training facilities. Now they too have rivals. They've got Ashton, obviously, and the Ashton Derby too. Mosley, same. Droylsden's the same. They're competitive with FC United, but they've been in the similar leagues for FC United for a long time. Warrington, so I don't know where that comes from because that's not far away. It's like in between Manchester and Liverpool. But they've got Hyde on here, Hyde United, who are a similar sized team. Now it's also a bit of fun because it's part of the Boodyverse. So this is going to be an updated Boodyverse file. If you don't know what that is, every story I make, I build upon it and build upon it and build upon it. And each new video release a new database or a new save file or whatever. So every story I've made is within it. So you've got in this league my Denton Villa team, you've got my old Manchester Central team. Down below somewhere you might find Newton Heath. So any of the players that I've created in stories are all going to be in there, in here. So they're not going to have an easy ride this first year because they've got 2 big clubs there. So I've taken over Ashlyn United just to show the finances, and the finances are exactly the same for Kurzon Ashton. Now these are crazy finances for obviously a non-league team. I know, but this is a bit of fun in it. But I've not done the whole give them £1 billion job, which you can do. And they've got 250 in the bank, so each brother's put like half his fortune into the club. Now what I tend to do and others tend to do on stuff like this is you need that income coming in on a regular basis every year. Like if you take over Man City, you'll notice, or Man United, they've got big sponsorships, big commercial incomes, guaranteed money that never changes. It will come in every year, 200-300 million, and keeps the club at the top. Obviously they get the prize money from the Premier League and all that stuff on top of that, but that big bulk of money really helps the club fly up the leagues. I've kept that low really for something like this. It's massive, don't get me wrong, it's unrealistic for a non-league team, I know, but it's still nowhere near what you'd normally do for something like this. Well, here we are, and it's 5 years into the future. It's the 1st of July 2024. We find Ashlyn United and Curzon and Denton Villa in the Championship. So they've all started at the same point, but at this point right now we're all here together. Well, we're going to start here with Ashlyn United, and they've done pretty well. Now they've increased the capacity of Ayers Cross. I can see that 26,500. That's pretty good. Earning a bit more money, but well, they started off obviously in the Vanarama National League North, and they finished 3rd, but playoff. Got to the National, won that. Won League 2, won League 1, and they've just finished 4th in the Championship. So they've had a really good progression. So on to Ashlyn United's trophy room, and they're starting to pick up some silverware, aren't they? Build a base trophy, they've got a leasing.com trophy and obviously a couple of league titles. So in that first season they signed a lot of players, they needed to flesh out the squad. Only spent 900 grand, which is a lot in the league they're in, but it's not millions. It was that next season he invested in it. Bloody hell, bought a player for Manchester City for 23 million. Wow, getting serious. I like it. The following season, 37 million, 12, 58 million. So you know it's a lot in it. 40 million. That's this season. Now then, a relocation to Old Trafford. How good's that? That was when they were like non-league. They were playing a non-league football at Old Trafford. While Ayers Cross has had a few increases. Now, manager-wise, they've had 3. They've had a couple of caretakers, but they've had 3 main managers. Paul Hurst, who got him started, and then they had Roberto Di Matteo. He's now at Leicester, so fair play to him. He's rebuilding his career at Ashton, and after being manager of Chelsea, Schalke, Villa, dropped out of Ashton, worked his way back up to the top, and now the current manager is Raul. I never say his second name, but I know him obviously. He's a Valencia, Real Madrid player. We also put Napoli on it. Good player in his day. Now over to Curzon. Obviously they've got the miserable brother, but he is motivated to compete with his brother and wants to do just as good. So that first year, they were in the National North, finished 4th. So they were a year behind. So his brother went up straight away. He'd have been gutted, wouldn't he? Won the league though the next year, and then won the league, and won the league. So because of that first year, he's been able to follow his brother and win titles as well. Now they did have an Evo Stick Northern League Division title in the trophy cabinet at the beginning, but they've got to build a base. They haven't won the leasing.com, but I think they've won more titles, haven't they? First year he only spent 81,000. Maybe that's his issue. His brother spent 900, brought in more players, but then he had a good squad. He had a good squad for that division anyway. So maybe he thought he could get away with not investing as much, and he maybe backfired. But then, as the years have rolled on, he spent 3.9 again. So he's not initially been investing as much. He's a bit tighter. That's the thing. Then he's starting to realise he's putting more money in. Still not as much as his brother. 23 million is still a lot. I mean, he's bought Brandon Williams from Manchester United. Jesus. Then he finally started to spend money. 34 million, 16 million, 8.75 million. He spent nowhere near as much as his brother. He's a bit more frugal, but he's still been able to be successful. Facility-wise as well, they relocated to Old Trafford when they were increasing. So every time his brothers increased the stadium, they've increased the stadium. And they both were at Old Trafford at the same time, as well as United. How would that work out? Now, manager-wise, I think they had a manager at the beginning. It was Ashlyn United who didn't have a manager, I think. And a similar thing, they've had a couple of managers, one at the beginning, and then they've had 2 new guys, and obviously a couple of caretakers, and they too have had a manager who's had big jobs and maybe tried to rebuild his career. And here is Steve Mcclaren out of a job again because he thinks he's Billy Big Balls, doesn't he? So obviously his last job was at QPR in 2019. He's had a year out, got to Curzon for just short of a year. Didn't win anything, and then got offered Leeds and jumped ship straight away. Arsehole. Got sacked by Leeds, not had a job for 2 years. They now have Darrell Clarke, who's been here since 2020, so he's been here for 4 years. All their success has been from Darrell Clarke. So this is the current season with the bookies. This is what the odds are. And my beloved Denton Villa are favourites to get relegated. I'm proud of Denton Villa, because they've got no money. Denton Villa and Manchester Central on its database, fan-owned clubs. They don't have money, but they do start off with my patrons. If you become a patron, you get into those teams. A quick look at the general page, and they still got the same rivals. And I thought you're supposed to be able to build new rivalries. They said that on the gate. Football Manager, was it a year or 2 ago? I've never seen it happen. I've never seen a new rivalry form, even though I've had rivalries. But another reason why I wanted to look at both clubs' general pages was just to see their owner status, and both still love the club. Both are still up for this. They're both still competing. Well, here we are, and it is now 2034. We've jumped forward 10 years, and we now find Ashlyn United in the Championship. But it looks like they've had quite a few years in the Premier League, which is pretty sweet. So if we have a look, they end up finishing 4th in the Championship. They came 2nd, got up to the Premier League, 15th, 9th, got relegated from the Prem, back down to the Championship, mid-table, probably a rebuilding part. The following season, they won the Championship, back up to the Premier League, 10th, 9th, 12th, relegated, so they've just gone down. They've got Virgil van Dijk, or Dick, as I call him, as the manager. That's pretty mad. And they also play pretty cool in the Jerry Potter Stadium, who retired in 2032. Jerry Potter finally gave up, sold the club to new chairman Jamie Howes, who took over with a consortium. But he would have took over a Premier League club, so in Jerry's eyes, he'd done it. But had he done it? We'll have to wait and see. Got him in the Premier League. He decided to cash in, probably made an absolute fortune selling a Premier League team. Now we could go for every year, but I don't want to click through 10 years of transfers. But you can see at the top there, I mean, you look at some of these numbers. He bought someone called Louis Evans for 94 million. But I mean, they started to spend big. Oh, Sunday Ugwu, 108 million. Yeah. So you can tell they're up there now. They're starting to spend big money. That's because they would have been a Premier League team. They still will only be getting 40 million in sponsorships, unless they renegotiate new ones. They're guaranteed that 40 million, but it's not massive when you're in the Premier League. But onto their main page now. Part of it was getting to the Premier League, but I want them to win a major trophy. That's what's gonna be the final winner. And I know Jerry's retired, but let's just think of him as a silent partner now. He sold off his majority share, but he's still on the board. He's still a member. But they too find themselves in the Championship, and they, at the minute, look like they have never been in the Premier League. So doesn't mean they're not winning. I mean, if they've won themselves an FA Cup or something, I'll have that. I'll take that, I reckon. But they've never been in the Prem. So they've got close. They finished third, so they must have lost the playoffs. Now they too have had a busy transfer history. If we have a look, some of the bigger ones. I mean, if that's one of their biggest ones, 9.5 million. You can see the difference because they've never been in the Premier League, and Ashton have. So Ashton would be buying 70 to 90 million pound players because they've got Premier League money. One thing they do have though at Curzon Ashton is Alan Potter still at the head of the freaking club. He's still there thinking, I'm not done yet. You might have retired, but he was always lazy, his brother, wasn't he? Wanted to go on holidays, buy fast cars, chill out, sell the business, relax. Alan was always more motivated. Now they too have their own stadium, and they have also named it after their chairman, the Alan Potter Arena. I absolutely love it. The one thing he has done though is scaled down his funding. He did that in 28, 6 years ago, so he's not pumping in nowhere near as much money. And they too haven't won anything major. You know, you don't need to be in the Premier League to win a big trophy. It could happen. Very rare, but it could. But look who was also manager of Curzon. Current Ashton United manager. Imagine that. I mean, George Graham did it. A few other managers have done it. But it was Curzon Ashton was his first managerial job. He lasted a season. Pressure was on him. They got rid of him. He didn't deliver. Went to Burnley for a season, maybe two. Then went to Newcastle for a season, and now he's been at Ashton for a season. So these are the current odds for this year's Championship. Ashlyn United are favourites to go up. Where's Curzon? 9th. Central are now here. Villa, Denton Villa in this league as well, which is pretty freaking awesome for me. On a personal note, welcome to 2044. 25 years into this now. Jerry though is no longer with us, unfortunately. He did sell his majority share, didn't he? He stayed on the board, but he died of a heart attack in Los Angeles, and that's where he was buried. Left all his money to his 3 wives, dog's home. But the club still carries on, and it's all about what the club can do. Even without Jerry, the brothers are still fighting, aren't they? And they're still here, they're still going. And I think last time we looked, it just got relegated. And then Virgil, didn't they, as the manager? He's took him straight up, and they've been Premier League ever since. Although he's not the manager, I don't know who is, or what's happened, sorry, to the manager. Well, this is Curzon now. They've had tastes of the Premier League, but look who the manager is. What? I mean, has he improved over the years? Well, yeah. When he left Ashton, he went to Coventry, my rebuild club, Reading, Derby, great club, and now he's at Curzon. Now we'll go through the transfers, and I kind of think you understand the fact that with Ashton being in the Premier League now for so long, they have Premier League money and they have spent fortunes. Now don't get me wrong, Curzon have spent good amounts of money, and it looks like they've spent big, but the values are vastly different. Someone's won what you could call a major trophy. I'm disappointed no one's ever won a Premier League, which has been dominated by City, but Manchester United, current champs. No one's ever won a League Cup, which again, that's good. This is one of the ones I thought someone might win, maybe. No FA Cup winner either, which again is pretty shit. And obviously no one's won the Champions League, although Manchester United. Now we've had no Europa League winner. Ashton could have done this because they finished in a high enough place. But Brighton are the current champions. How cool is that? Over to Curzon's history. Obviously they've just won the Sky Bet Championship, but also you might see they haven't won anything major. So we'll find out how Ashlyn United won it in a minute, because they have won something major. Class it as major, but owner Alan Potter left in 2035. Now he's still alive. You don't know where he is. He's lost all his marbles, but he's still with us, and his family still own a small percentage of the club. They in fact won the UEFA Europa Conference League, the 3rd division of Europe, last year. And this is it, they beat Fenerbahce last year in Serbia. But look at the current champions, team I've never heard of them. They're from Romania. The reason I don't have a manager, just in case you're wondering, is because Antonio Conte, the guy's won him that major title. Because look, it is a major cup. That's how they've done it. It says it right there, major cup honours. He's just retired. He's about 78 years old. So there we have it. That is the end of the Billionaire Brothers, the Broken Bro Code. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to smash the like button. It is just a bit of fun. Bit of just me passing the time in self-isolation. Although I'm with my wife and my son. You know, you need to do something to cheer yourself up. And Football Manager is a great escape for anyone. So hopefully, you know, you're a big fan of the game. Get yourself stuck into a save. The best thing I'll always say is, especially times like this, if you've got loads of time in your hand, time to play Football Manager, start Journeyman. Best thing ever. And if you want to watch a Journeyman, I have a weekly show called The Road to Anywhere. If you're not seeing it, go and check it out. I've currently got a rebuild of commentary. Go and check it out. I've got another story coming out next week, so hopefully you'll look forward to that and enjoy that. But thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit here and watch this daft video. I really do appreciate it. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Pledge to my Patreon. I hope you and your family are safe and well. So from me and my family, take care. I'm Bood. I'll see you next time.